let me back up a little bit. I chose to start living my life believing that everything is perfect and everything's on purpose, and that there's something, some energy, some source, some creator, so something that's put all of this into play, this whole world, this whole universe, all-knowingness put into play, and that everything that happens for a reason and on purpose. Even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment, I know there's something bigger that's happening. So in knowing that there's something bigger that's happening, I had to remove my thinking of things being right or wrong, or good or bad, and just accept that everything just simply is what it is. And I know that sounds a little redundant, but it's the best way to say it. Everything simply just is what it is. It's not good or bad or right or wrong, or fair or unfair, until we call it that, until we put that word on it, until we label it as that.
Until we judge it.
Exactly, until we judge it. So our judgment of something being good or bad, right or wrong, comes from our experiences. So in my experience, a hug is a really, really good thing, and a punch to the face is a really bad thing. In the trueness of all beingness, a hug is a hug, and a punch in the face is a punch in the face. And you can't say if that hug was done in good intention, so it was a positive thing, or if it was done in bad intention, then it becomes a negative thing. But you take that punch in the face,
like
which somebody is seen as bad, but if that's if that one instance led to meeting a doctor that reconstructed your face that you fell in love with and married, you know what I'm saying? You don't know where that outcome's going to lead.
Oh, you're really reaching now.
So then, well, I mean, it's just an example.
Yeah.
I'm winging it here, right? I had to work with me.
It's like Fight Club, you know? Yeah, you're in Fight Club now.
Right. I could see him challenging me as a negative thing. But no, it just simply is what it is. And we decide if it's good or bad based on our experiences. So since we are deciding what's good and what's bad, what's right or what's wrong, from our experiences, I'm deciding what's good, bad, right or wrong from my personal experiences, and not from the big picture of, oh, it took, unfortunately, the devastating betrayal of this in order to create this amazing thing. Then it's like, well, how can you judge that bad thing as bad when it led to something so amazing and so incredible? So in accepting that everything just simply is what it is, it helped me to break down the good and bad. So when I found myself using language like, oh, that's bad, I'd be like, nope, it's not bad, it just is what it is. And if I believe that the only truth is love, then I can say, okay, it is what it is. And if everything is love, and I'm not seeing love, then I must not be looking at it in the right perspective. I'm only seeing it from my limited perspective. So when you have an instance in which circumstances happen and somebody says, you know, that was really dumb what you did. It's dumb in that person's opinion, due to the experiences that that person has had in their lives. And that nobody can decide for someone else if something is good or bad, right or wrong. It's in our deciding what is good or bad, right or wrong. And deciding that what's right or wrong for us, putting a blanket across the whole world and say, well, if it's right or wrong for me, then it's right or wrong for you, and you, then you're not taking into respect somebody else's life experience and the ability to look at something from a different perspective. So when someone says, I really think that was dumb, they're really saying, I think, in my opinion, that that situation was dumb. And more likely, what they are saying in truth is that if it was me and I was the one who made that decision in that circumstance, I would judge myself as dumb. Therefore, when I see you do it, I'm judging you as dumb because that's how I would judge myself. You see how there's a little bit different perspective in that?
Yeah, I get that.
So when I would get really excited about something, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever, and I can't wait to tell somebody about it. And I'd go running up to somebody, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Wait till you hear about this. And they look at me like, that ain't ever going to happen. I used to think, bust my bubble, It ain't ever gonna happen. I was fooling myself. What I understand now is that when I'm really excited and somebody else isn't,
They just don't get it.
it has nothing to do with them, or it has nothing to do with me, and it has everything to do with them. If they envision themselves going after this dream, they don't believe that they could accomplish it. So then, instead of being like all defensive, like, oh, you want to bet that it's not going to happen, or feeling like this isn't a possibility now because somebody else told me that it wasn't a possibility, then I can look at them and be like, man, that's so sad that you don't think that you could do this. And then when I can get into that place of compassion, I can make it choose my response in compassion instead of defensiveness, gotta prove myself kind of mentality.
Or punching him in the face.
Or punch them in the face. And then I'd never meet that dream doctor, right? So it's very, very dangerous to make choices based on other people's opinions. And I feel that that is what leads a lot of people down the wrong paths, is because we try to get other people's approval versus what really makes our heart sing. And it can happen so subtly that, you can do something, you worked really, really hard on it, and you're really proud about it. Gosh, I just poured my heart into this, and I think I did a pretty good thing. And then somebody else walks along, like, well, that was the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Then it's like, instead of losing your value, you can then instead say, how interesting that they would feel that way. And then have that place of compassion and understanding that really, we don't say anything out loud that we wouldn't say to ourselves. And any of the negative comments that we get from other people is because they talk to themselves that way. It's because they see themselves that way. I believe this to be true. Anyway.